We're back, everybody, on our final full segment here on OpenLine as we talk about how we can address this learning loss during the pandemic. And it has been a pretty significant issue. It is a significant issue that we're facing, and statistics have shown how much students have fallen behind because of the pandemic, because they're not in the classroom for their safety. All right, Sonya and John, let's talk a little bit. During the break, we were talking about money. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, we need to increase funding. We just got to throw more money at the problem and that's going to solve it. Now, obviously, there are funding inequities. We know that. Neglect, there's been systemic racism. I mean, real stark inequity even before the pandemic. But throwing more money at an issue doesn't necessarily solve it. Like you said, obviously, we do need more funding in certain areas, but what we have taken out of this program so far is, what I've learned is, we've got to have a specific plan in place and bold leadership combined with funding going to the right places. Is that correct?
Yes, and going to the right people, the little people.
Right.
There's so much money. I mean, even in this pandemic, billions of dollars. And just recently, Congress just passed a bill for Tennessee to get $1.1 billion. And we're afraid that our children won't see any of that. And I think that that's a real fear, because they've never gotten anything out of money coming into this state. So that's just a real fear. Where is it going?
Sonya, do you remember the race to the top? The race to the top, It was national news. They gave us $500 million. We were so excited. The game was going to change. Now in 2021, we have 1.1. We have double that amount. And people are not talking about it because they don't see the value that the money is coming in, because they're not seeing it in their kids' learning and education.
I want to talk real quick about testing. I know part of this special session, basically they've said there's a bill that eliminates penalties for teachers based on how well their students perform on annual state tests, which I think most everybody across the board says that's reasonable. We can't hold them accountable for what has happened given this pandemic. I mean, this was put in place last year, but both the governor and the education commissioner still want the testing to remain in place this year. They say they need updated data, and opponents saying it's not going to help. I mean, we know what the results are going to be. What's your take on that?
Data is important, right? So the whole context of the data is, not holding teachers accountable. The risk is we're holding children accountable. There's a part of the learning loss bill, whereas third graders can be retained if they're not proficient in reading. And so what we're realizing is that's only a ploy to take responsibility off of those who should be responsible for children learning how to read. Tennessee is not doing well in reading. Only 35% of the children in Tennessee are reading on grade level. And so we need to address the reasons why they're not reading. A lot of people don't know that our educators go to school to be teachers, but they're not even taught how to teach children how to read. If you don't believe me, ask them what the name of the class that they take to teach children how to read. And so to penalize children is unacceptable. Yes, we want to make sure that children are reading on grade level and they're receiving proper instruction from educators who also have been taught how to teach them how to read. The burden of learning how to read is not on the child. The burden is on the state, and it's on the superintendents and the director of schools, and it's on the educators. It's not the children's burden to bear.
Okay, let's take another phone call. Let's go to Candace. Hi, Candace, welcome. Candace, what's on your mind?
Well, first I want to say hello, Rhori. Hello, Sonya. Hello, John. This is Candace Brewington.
Oh!
And I have a special son, genius. But do you know what he tells me once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week? He tells me school makes him feel stupid now.
And why is that?
Now that boy is a genius. He's autistic. He has ADHD. So socially, keeping up with these virtual classes is hard. But I'm there every day. I'm there every day to help him. But he says a lot of the testing, the things that y'all were talking about, makes him feel dumb, and he's crying. And I got told today that I'm helping him too much. But he needs a one-on-one person to help him through the social parts of the class. He's in 5th grade. He's on a 3rd grade level. Okay. And they're telling me that I'm helping him too much. That I'm asking the questions for him, but he doesn't know how to ask the questions. He has words, but they think just because he has words, it doesn't mean he knows when to ask the questions, what questions to ask. He's just trying to keep up in a class that is far beyond him socially.
Thank you so much, Candace. We appreciate the call. And we haven't even talked about kids with special needs, and there's a great example of the impact.
That's why we're wanting the personalized learning plans or the individualized learning plans. There's a difference between having it and an IEP. An IEP is about the accommodations that the child needs. Sounds like this child is in a classroom, whether it's virtual or in person, where the teacher doesn't even know him. And that's why it's important for us to personalize children's education, to make sure that their needs are addressed as an individual. And that baby is not receiving that. Right. So it's our hope that the district takes this very serious and planning this plan with parents so that there'll be true partnership. How can you help your child too much? They shame parents and they'll say that we're not helping them enough. So which one is it?
Go ahead, John.
Can I tell you, I heard from a parent, Josh, who's in the Stratford cluster, and we were just having a conversation about education. And I was like, hey, man, well, he said, man, these kids may be 2 grades behind by the time we start back. And I was like, Josh, honestly, on average, kids come into the 5th grade 2 grades behind. And when I said that, he opened up. He said, well, I'll tell you, my child probably 4 grades behind, and it hurt because he's a very involved father. He is with his child all the time, but something is not clicking, and he feels like he isn't getting the support. And so we're teaching him how to write the email to his school to advocate for his kid. But it's a lot of Joshes out there who love their children, who spend a lot of time, who don't understand the school system. That's why we're advocating for ILPs, individualized or personalized learning plan.
All right, let's go to our final caller. It's Matt holding. Matt, thanks for holding. Go ahead. What's on your mind? Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So circling back to you all were talking about the more of the financial aspect of recovering learning loss. Right. Do you feel that enough of our financial resources are being invested on the ground? Or are we really empowering teachers, families, and even students with financial resources and real world choices? And if not, I'm just wondering why do you think that is? I mean, where's the leak in the bucket or the kink in the pipe or whatever metaphor you want to use?
Well, great point, and we talked about that a little bit about we know the funding, there's a lot of money out there, but how do we get it to the right places?
Well, first we got to find the money, we got to find the bucket, we got to find the pipe. To be honest, we don't even know. And those are the questions that we need to be asking. Where is the money? Who is it going to? You got school buildings that are closed, so that would cut some of the costs. When we did go in person for a while a few months ago, there were schools that had 15 children in the building, and that was all.
Right.
And so we need to be asking that important question, and it needs to be answered.
Right. So go ahead, John.
Vince Young was our quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, Go Titans. I remember when he had financial issues. He graduated from college, but he was not all there academically. And he didn't know what was happening to his money. He made the millions. He trusted an accountant, but since the accountant knew that he didn't know what he was doing, what Vince Young said, he was spending his money and he didn't even know. And so in Metro, last year, I think we got 26 million to buy laptops, hotspots. This year, we quadrupled it. We got 110 million. But where is the money? And so when you don't ask those questions, again, he was an NFL star, starting quarterback for the Titans. What do you think that money is happening when you have parents who are in the school system who don't understand it either?
Right. So
and I want to make a correction there. Not 110 million, 123 million.
123 million. Wow. So it's just going to keep all of us, parents especially, we got to stay involved and engaged and keep pressing.
Yes.
I think the last word is what we have to do. I think parents are involved, parents are engaged, but we've got to press.
Yeah. Sonya and John, thanks so much. It's always good to talk to you. Appreciate you taking time. I know it's been a busy week, but really appreciate what you're doing. Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good
So
night.
long. And we'll be back to wrap things up with Open Line right after this. Stay with us.